Hello, hello, hello. Hey, you guys. Hello. Woo, we got a lot to talk about. Oh, might help if I get my microphone correct. Let's see here. How is everyone? How are you? Where's my thing? Let's see. Where's my thing? Okay. All righty. Hey, you guys. Hello. All right. So we got quite a bit of stuff to talk about. So I did a wonder if I'm a Democrat. No, I am not a Democrat. I will never be a Democrat. I am a former Democrat, Lomster 1331. I will never be a Democrat. Left that after God awakened me back in 2017. Yes, praise God. I am not a Democrat. So the first thing I wanted to do is I want us to pray for those Christians that are being persecuted all over the world right now, particularly in Syria. I just want to put that on your hearts to pray for them. We know, hey, Jesus loves you. Hello. Hi, Jamar. We know that the Bible tells us that that may happen, as we live, as we are on this side of heaven, as things get crazy, we may experience persecution. So I just want to put it on your hearts to pray for our brothers and sisters in Christ all around the world that are suffering. So I wanted to get that first before I forget, because we have quite a bit of things to talk about. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the Department of Education. Let's just go ahead and get right into this.
Started with a sort of mysterious notice this afternoon, a reference to security concerns that went out to all employees at the U.S. Department of Education. Quote, beginning today at 6 p.m., all Education Department offices will be closed for security reasons. Employees must vacate the building by that time. This notice also said all Education Department offices would be closed tomorrow and no employees would be allowed in. Now, this notice had no details about what these security reasons were, but it was pretty clear what was coming. After all, we've been through this a couple of times already now. It was just over a month ago when people who work at USAID got an email saying their office would be closed the next day and they shouldn't come to work. That was right before Trump set about completely dismantling that whole agency. Employees at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, same thing, sent a very similar note saying their office would be shut for the following week, just as.
So I think this is a common thing, the security, from what I understand, is because they don't want, disgruntled employees and stuff like that. I mean, we do remember, the whole term of like going postal. That was a government job, and the guy who, you don't want that. So there might be the security is a real thing.
The White House ordered the entire agency to stop all of its work. And sure enough, tonight, just after the 6 p.m. deadline for Education Department workers to vacate their offices because of some security concern, Trump Education Secretary, the billionaire pro wrestling executive Linda McMahon, announced that her department is cutting its workforce in half. They will begin firing more than 1,300 people from the Education Department tonight. And then, of course, she went straight to Fox News.
That was the president's mandate, this directive to me, clearly is to shut down the Department of Education, which we know we'll have to work with Congress, to get that accomplished. But what we did today was to take the first step of eliminating what I think is bureaucratic bloat. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks, it's a humanitarian thing too. A lot of the folks that are there, they're out of a job. But we wanted to make sure that we kept all of the right people and the good people.
If you find yourself starting to feel a little tug on your heartstrings for those 1,300 people who are out of a job tonight at the Education Department, don't worry. We kept all the good people. We kept all the good people. The 1,300 people who are getting fired tonight, they just aren't, they're not good. They're not good. Who is this for?
I don't understand this. What is this like? First of all, before we get to, there's this Black lady that comes up and, she's going to say some really stupid stuff, but hey, Paul, hi. Thank you so very much, Mr. Paul. This idea that every federal employee is good just because they work for the federal government, like that is bogus and stupid. We know good and doggone well that just because you happen to work for the federal government doesn't mean that you're great and wonderful, that you are just so well, you just do your job so well. I don't remember all these tears when y'all was cooking the books for the private sector jobs. Where were the tears when people were getting fired in the private sector? No, y'all were busy cooking the books and fudging the numbers on, we've hired, hundreds of thousands of workers. Meanwhile, they secretly retract that, and then they give us the real numbers. That's what y'all were busy doing. While people were really losing jobs, y'all didn't cry. Y'all didn't care. You were cooking the books and trying to gaslight us and tell us nobody was getting fired. All these jobs were being created, which was a lie. It was a straight up lie. So I don't want to hear all of this mess. It is our tax dollars paying for this. And we voted for Trump to do this, especially with the Department of Education.
The vast majority of the American people do not want this. A poll earlier this month, Reuters Ipsos, found that fully 66% of Americans oppose abolishing the Education Department. Nearly half of Americans strongly oppose it, while only 16% are strongly in favor of it. This is not something Americans want, but Donald...
Don't be deceived by these numbers because, first of all, most people, I would love to see who they interviewed, how many people that they actually interviewed, and everything that happened with that. So let's see.
Trump is trying to do it anyway, apparently starting with firing fully half the people who work at that agency tonight. This is from NPR on the Trump administration's announcement tonight that they're firing 1,300. Joining us now is Sharia Smith. She's president of the union representing 2,800 employees at the Education Department. She served our country as an attorney for the Education Department's Office for Civil Rights until this evening. Ms. Smith, thank you so much for being here on Tonight of All Nights. I am sorry for what you're going through.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Sorry for what she's going through. I mean, like, what? Did she just lose a parent, okay, or a child? Like, let's stop with all of that. Why is she constantly apologizing to the Black women for losing their jobs? First, she was so sorry for Joy Reid. Now she's so sorry for this lady. Give her your job then. Why didn't Rachel give Joy Reid her job or take a pay cut? She didn't do none of that. But I'm so sorry, thoughts and prayers. Yes, sure.
My coworkers and I from all over the country really appreciate the platform you're giving us to talk about this.
Is it the case that your whole office is being closed and your colleagues, all of your colleagues at your office are being fired as well, the whole thing?
You know, that's so interesting that you asked the question about our whole office. So we've reviewed the list of people who are set to be laid off. And I also listened to Secretary McMahon's statement about how they're keeping the good people. The people that they seem to be keeping are white men who happen to have graduated from very conservative schools. Not to say that they're not good. I think all of my coworkers are excellent. Many of them are members. But the coworkers that are being laid off as well are also good. What is curious in the U.S. Department of Education is that the layoffs, the mass terminations, the administrative leaves are seeming to affect and impact disproportionately women and people of color. And the Department of Education should be a model employer. And I want American people to think about, do they want their employer to follow this model where the only people that are deemed good enough to keep their jobs and their ability to support their families are people who are from a certain race and are of a certain gender.
Okay, first of all, it's the Department of Education. So I would venture to bet that most of these people went through the public school system. Have you looked at our public school systems, the grades of who they're graduating? And this is not just, I'm not talking about like just in the last, 2 or 3 years. I'm talking about American education has been in decline since public schooling was implemented. Okay? So this idea that public schooling and the Department of Education has just been so great and wonderful. Well, then you tell me, Miss Union, federal, whoever, union lady, why are the children graduating? The graduation rates are up, but the reading and the math scores are down in the toilet. Okay? Like I'm talking about 18% can read, I'm talking about numbers like that. Like we dang on near in single digits of kids being proficient in reading and math and science in the areas that they need to be. It has been declining for decades. And now we're supposed to be gaslit. Oh no, the Department of Education is so great and wonderful, and everybody there is absolutely good, even though what they're giving us is crap. These kids, I have seen for myself, and I would not lie to you. These kids, when I tell you they cannot read, they cannot read. So if you can't read, then how can you even do math? You can't even read the directions on the math test to figure out. I mean, like if you can't read, how are you going to do anything else? You can't do science because science is reading. You can't do English because that's reading. You can't read the math because, I'm saying like read the directions of what they want you to do or read a math problem. If you can't read, how are you supposed to do anything? But we're supposed to keep you employed? You got me all the way messed up. That's like me paying a tutor to teach my children. And year after year after year, they keep failing and I keep paying you. I keep you employed. You must think I'm boo-boo the fool. Why would I do that? Why would anybody do that? So no, ma'am, I'm sorry. You, Rachel, all you little union people, all y'all don't care about these kids. Y'all want the teachers to be in your union so y'all can get money. That's what you want. Let's just keep it a stack. That's what you really want. It's never been about the children. Ever. They are just a means for y'all to get what y'all want. Keely C says no child left behind should have been no one cares, and the child is still left behind. Yes, the child is left behind. Cal says let's keep in mind the only reason Richard Maddow is here again is BSMS 13 DNCs are so bad they had to try anything to bring their ratings back up. Yeah, true. Paul says, good. They are so corrupt, the teachers union, they all support the Democrats. So yeah, stop the cap. Disgraceful. If you can't read, you can't write either. That's true. You can't write either. Think about all of because the kids aren't stupid. They just haven't been made to do anything. So I don't know if y'all know, but my oldest, well, my both of my children, but my oldest daughter in particular, because my youngest is a special needs child, so her situation is a little bit different. But I did this with both of them. I sat them down when my oldest was about 15, and I was like, look, you are now in charge of your stuff. I am not running up and down to the schools anymore. This is before I had I pulled them out yet? I'm not sure when exactly, but it was right around the time. If I hadn't pulled them out of public school, it was right around that time. So I think I had pulled them out by this time, but I was like, I'm not, all of this, waking you up and taking you here, taking you there, and you haven't earned the right to go. Like, I was one of those parents. If my child called me 3 times because they forgot something or they needed this and needed that, I was up to the school 3 times. It was pathetic. Okay. I was that parent. And as I started to learn more about the education system and learn how I was failing my children because I was just giving them everything and trying so hard for them not to suffer. It was not benefiting them. It was not benefiting them at all. Now, when I told my children this, they did look at me like I was crazy. And I'm sure it sounded really crazy when I said, you are now in charge of your life. If you forget your report, or if you don't wake up in time for school, if you sorry, guess you're gonna have to work it out the next time. It was the best thing I ever did for them. One of the best things as far as their education. The best thing was pulling them out of the public schooling system, and the second best thing was stop all this gentle parenting, coddling, never letting them fail, all of that nonsense. Children need to hit the bottom, meaning they need to fail. They need to learn how to fall and get up. If you are constantly catching them, when are they going to learn the lessons of how to get up? Y'all, I'm telling you, if you haven't talked to some young kids who are of course, all y'all's kids, I'm sure, are just fantastic, but mine needed to fail. They needed to learn how to get up. And once I started doing that and they had to take responsibility for themselves, they were off to the races. It was the best thing I had ever done for them. Nothing, outside of pulling them out, it was the best thing. Melinda said, ooh, all of the best teachers I've had have been male. They hold you accountable, even though you are a kid. Listen, that's, but I'm finding even, there are fathers now who are getting so soft on their kids. This is just can't be. It cannot be. Children need discipline. They need the discipline. They need to learn how to fail so they know how to get up, so they can know how to think. These kids don't know how to think. They thinking for kids now is so stressful. Oh my God, I have to think, because they don't even know where to start. So I'm not sad. I don't think first of all, the Department of Education is unconstitutional. We shouldn't have a Department of Education. Education should be kept very, very local. It should be a local thing. Y'all don't even, I'm like, we don't even need, if I could have it my way, we would not have public schooling, period. Okay. Because I am 99% sure this is the public schooling system is why We have a radical left. It is why. Paul says, when you fail, it gives you the determination to do better. That's it. Kids, it's not. Jesus loves you. He says, education is not what it used to be. It's not. And even when it was better, we had still been the best as when we had those one-room schoolhouses. That's just the truth. That's just it. But let's hear what Randy Weingarten had to say about this. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, before we go there, let's finish listening to Miss It's Racism. That lady.
I know that this has all just happened in the last few hours, but with what they've been telegraphing about their plans for the education department, I know that you and your union colleagues and your colleagues at work more broadly have to have been expecting the worst. Do you believe that your union or that the employees more broadly have recourse to fight these firings and have recourse to fight their efforts to abolish the department?
Well, absolutely, because their efforts are illegal. Again, since the new administration came into office, we have experienced mass terminations and unchecked unprofessionalism, and people just not going by the rules. Even this layoff is not something that should have occurred. The layoff was not because of a budget shortfall. The president can't just lay people off because he does not agree with them or he does not like the color of their skin or their gender. So certainly we are availing ourselves for, of all recourse to challenge this and talking with attorneys, and we have been since the first round of layoffs on January 21st. And so, we'll be fighting, and we hope the American people will fight with us.
No, thank you. I'm not fighting with you with that mess. So let me get this straight, darling. So even if you're not producing something good, we're expected to just keep paying you. You think a president that actually wants change is supposed to just keep employees around just because, because we made the budget. Her thing is there was no budget shortfall. So as long as we have the money to pay people, let's just keep paying them. Even though you're not producing what you were supposed to produce, I'm supposed to just keep paying you, even though because I got the money to pay. No, girl, that's not how this is supposed to work. Like, these people think that they are entitled to a job. This is insane. But I bet you, well, I would say that she probably went to public school, but she probably is one of these privileged people who went to like a private school and then wants, everybody else to suffer. She got a good education, but, not for everybody else. Paul says the victimhood is the reason for everything. Ain't it though? It's insane. Paul also says Trump said it. America pays the most for education, and yet we are the last in the world with educated children. It's so true. Very, very true. Like, I don't understand how you think we're supposed to keep paying you when the kids can't even read. Like, that is your job, to educate the children, and they're not being educated, but we're supposed to keep paying you. Get out of my face. Well, let's hear what Randy Weingarten has to say. Now, y'all know she is the chairwoman director. She's over the largest teachers union in America. This is the lady who said, let the children stay out of school during COVID.
I'm a huge fan of all teachers. I think teachers are underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued, but now it goes a step further. They're trying to eliminate the existence of the Department of Education. Why, if it doesn't make a difference you're a Republican or a Democrat, is dismantling the DOE going to be such a disaster for our country?
So first, it's a disaster symbolically as much as it's a disaster in reality. Think about a country whose president basically says as their first acts, I'm getting rid of education. What does that say about the future? What does that say about, take all the things that Republicans believe in, entrepreneurship, ingenuity, creativity. How do you say to a country, I'm getting rid of the one department, the smallest department in the federal government, the Department of Education. Now, on the facts, this is what the Department of Education does.
Yes.
It is about opportunity. Forget about all these other words. What the Department of Education does, sorry, I am a civics.
Forget about all those other words like, I don't know, educating people. Oh, it's about opportunity. Okay, first of all, she said, let's think about what the Department of Education does. And the next word she said is opportunity. What the freak does that even mean? Oh, let me welcome. Come on into my establishment. Let me tell you what we do. We do opportunity. What the freak does that mean, ma'am? Like, if I were like just a Democrat and I was listening, I would be pissed off that that's what you're trying to sell me. That would make me very mad.
Teacher.
No.
LBJ, 1950s, he was a teacher in Texas of disproportionately Mexican American children. And he saw them come into his elementary school without shoes, in total poverty, but they saw the school as their salvation. And what he brought to the White House with him, that was part of the war on poverty. White kids, black kids, Mexican American kids, was let's find ways to level up opportunity, to give kids food, to give kids tutors for literacy, to have paraprofessionals, to have reading specialists for lower class sizes, have federal money to do that. The same in terms of kids with disabilities. IDEA, have federal money so that kids with disabilities are not in the basement anymore. So it's federal money that disproportionately goes to red states. That actually is opportunity. So when somebody says DEI, it's opportunity. It's so we can create that ladder of opportunity. It's so we can make sure that kids can succeed. Poor kids, kids with disabilities, kids who want to go to career tech ed, kids who are first generation college goers to get some scholarship money. That's what the Department of Education does. And that's why you're seeing across the country people saying 90% of the kids in America go to public schools.
Yes.
They know what Title I is. They know what IDEA is. The federal government does not control education. The states do. Local school boards do.
Okay,
This is
so
about
why not let
opportunity.
it go?
That is why so many people are so mad about it, because they're just taking opportunity away from kids that don't have it. So billionaires, kids of billionaires, they have it. They go to private schools. Everyone else, 90%, go to public schools. Don't take away their opportunity.
So let's stay on the facts.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
do
really.
not.
Whew, Randy is having a meltdown, y'all. Somebody go check on little Randy. Hey, Anthony's, so many things crazy about that. First of all, Black children, children with disabilities, white children, Asian children, Latin children across America, before the public schooling system was created, were actually getting a great education. Shocker, I know, because they love to tell you, they love to make you think that Black children and everybody, all the children of color, none of them were educated before the public schooling system, which is a lie. And then even in the beginning of the public schooling system, where we were still kind of we still kind of had that foundation of the one-room schoolhouse, they were still learning without this huge bloated Department of Education. So how come the children without a Department of Education, less money, less quote unquote resources, were smarter, more innovative, created more opportunity, created more businesses, made America what America is before we had a Department of Education, before we even had a school system. So how, Randy, were we able to do that with less? Why all of a sudden do we just absolutely need a Department of Education? Like the math ain't mathing, which is why we're having this conversation anyway, because the kids can't do math. Randy crashing out, trying to gaslight us just like LBJ. Exactly. Like, this is insane to me. You are supposedly a civics teacher and you know civics and all of that stuff. Like, how come you didn't go look back? Oh, that's right, because you're not interested in actually fixing the problem. You're not actually interested in educating the children. You just want the money. We on to you, girl. Keely 223 says children with disabilities are not getting their services because you all are stealing the funds. Exactly. And even with all of these funds, most of it stays at the top anyway. It doesn't even get into the classrooms. It goes to the bureaucrats. This woman makes like she's like one of the highest paid people in education. You know, she makes like $300,000 or $400,000 a year, something like that. That's like what the president makes. Hey, Jamie. But this is insane. Who I want to know. I'd like to know. Put a 1 in the chat wherever you're watching, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that the Department of Education should be gone. Put a 2 if you think it should stay. A 1 in the chat if you think the Department of Education should be gone. Put a 2 if you think it should stay. I'm a hard 1. Okay. Okay, let's move on to our next story. So now we're going to be talking about, I guess they're trying to make this Jasmine Crockett. I think they're trying to make her like the you know, I guess the leader of the Democrats. Hey, stimulated students. Jasmine is a whole hot mess, to say the least. Okay. This woman is trying, she's pretending to be this ghetto fabulous, you know, neck popping, lips popping, neck rolling, neck popping, you know, down chick, because I don't know, maybe that's what you try to be when they bring Meg Thee Stallion to your national convention. Maybe you feel like that's what you need to be. Stimulated student says, I'm going to run against Jasmine if she's still there in 10 years. She represents a district I'm from. Okay. All right. Let's listen to what she's said. I have a few clips from Miss Jasmine.
Criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal, it's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that's why I wanted to point out, don't give me this fake outrage about criminals roaming our streets when you guys stand 10 toes down for the biggest criminal that we have ever seen go into the White House.
So it's not illegal for illegals. That's what she said. It's not illegal to enter the country illegally. It's not illegal to enter the country illegally. Now, you know, I'm not an expert on immigration. I'm not an expert in civics. I'm not an expert on immigration law. But I'm pretty sure that if somebody said it's not illegal to enter something illegally, then it's probably illegal. I'm just guessing. I, I'm just, I don't know how you can say it's not illegal to enter the country illegally and just roll right on past that. like, like you didn't catch what you said? Mhm. Cap BSS says, and she's not an expert either. Clearly, she's not. Anthony says, I'm an expert in common sense. Okay. Paul says, Lord, this woman is as dumb as she is a racist orangutan, a ratchetang, yes, from our lovely Miss April, Miss April Chapman. Why did I want to say April? Come on. This woman wrecks, she works my nerves because, like Jamie said on Instagram, she says she wants to be famous. She does want to be famous. But why would you want to compromise your integrity, your character, and your intelligence, or at least how you appear, your appearance of intelligence, so you could be famous? Especially nowadays, like the fame it will last like a hot 2 seconds, but people will remember, and they have the receipts of when you said it's not illegal to enter the country illegally. Like, people are going to remember that. And I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't want I wouldn't want to look like a fool. You know what I mean? I've made it as a United States Congresswoman. She's a lawyer. I guess she's practiced law for like 20 years or something like that. But I just don't understand this. I'm gonna die on the hill of ignorance so I can be, just so I can be on camera. Like, it's whack. Like, she's like the sexy red of Congress. It's like you're going to the gutter to try to make, you're like the Sukiana of Congress. You're trying to be so explicit. You're trying to be so out there, Miss Thing, that you don't care what you say. Cap BSS is, why are we shocked Democrats believe anything in the name of forwarding woke communism is not a crime? We're shocked. I know, but it's just, I guess I'm not shocked. It's just pathetic, because she does represent the United States. She represents my country, and it's embarrassing. Like, you look like a whole fool, and she thinks she lit. She thinks she Miss It because she is acting like sexy red. Eddie Bernice Johnson, the Democrat that held her seat, previously handpicked Jasmine before she passed. I heard about that. You're Semitic. I'm sorry, I'm messing that up. So, according to that woman in the blue shirt, illegals can bypass U.S. law whenever they want. I'm sorry, that woman in the blue shirt is a United States Congresswoman. That's the problem. Cruise Missile. Hey, Cruise Missile. Maxine Waters won't be around forever. They need a new sassy Black woman to fill the role. I guess so. And at least Jasmine is much better looking than Maxine Waters, because Maxine is not she's not aging well, to say the least. But Jasmine be saying some really crazy stuff. Like, she ain't wrapped too tight. And then somebody, Kofi 19, he sent me this this message where the guy who's running against her, I'm going to show you guys this. He pulled up to I'm gonna just let y'all watch this. This is pretty crazy. Let's see. Okay. Remove that. Go here. Boom, y'all. All right, look, watch this.
So I'm about to go to Randy Best's house, introduce myself, and just ask them straight up if they contributed to Jasmine's campaign, if they contributed that amount, and why they like her so much, because I might be able to learn a little bit of something while I'm up here. I'm way up here in Collin County. I'm in Plano, Texas, very far from TX30. It's very peculiar that somebody up here would give that much money to a candidate in our district. Maybe they have a special connection to the district. Let's go find out. I'm not going to film them. I'm not going to put any faces or anything on there. I'm just going to have my camera down at the ground. I'm going to be standing in a public, area in open air. I'm just, recording what's going on around me. Let's see what happens. All right, here's the house. Here's the house right here. Here we go. How you doing, ma'am?
No soliciting.
I'm not here. I'm not a solicitor. I'm attorney Sheldon Daniels.
Okay.
Is there a Randy Best who lives here?
That's my husband.
Yeah. I just want to verify. Are you guys aware that you were charged over $16,000 last year? Yeah.
What?
I have a list of charges. I'm just here to verify that you guys know about this. $16,240 in political contributions to a candidate named Jasmine Crockett. Do you remember that at all? Does your husband remember that at all?
I don't know. He's on the road on his way to Colorado.
Okay. It says here that he's not employed. Is he employed now?
No, we're retired.
Okay. I can leave this with you if you want. It's got your information on it.
Yeah, you can just leave it on the table.
Yes, ma'am. You mind if I take a picture?
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I think that the reason why a lot of these Democrats are freaking out is because, yes, Jamie, they're freaking out because their gravy train is running out. That's why they're freaking out. That's what I think. These Democrats have a massive system. This is my opinion of where they're using these NGOs that go through like the USAID department, probably, other departments as well, like the Department of Education. And they funnel the money through these NGOs and funnel it back to these politicians. That's my belief. They are running a Ponzi scheme, a scam. Yes, exactly. Now you know how they launder the money through states. Exactly. That, and she had what, a $20 billion, $2 billion of that through climate change and all of this stuff. Yes, that is why I ain't never seen a elected officials so pressed about not cleaning out waste, fraud, and abuse. Like that, it don't make any kind of sense. Like you're literally setting yourself up to not win an election, to not win your next election. Why would you be setting yourself up to not win your next election? All your opponent has to do is play you saying that you don't want the waste, fraud, and abuse to be looked at. You're going to lose, because I don't care who you are or what. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. You want the government to not be, wastefully spending your money. Stimulated student says, Jasmine isn't the reason society is failing in pieces. Qualified men have withdrawn from the public square over decades. Well, that is true. We're going to talk about a little bit of that in a minute. But this is insane. And I mean, I have never seen Democrats are losing their mind because Trump wants to find ways for it. Like, that's the easiest layup ever. Oh, yes, let's do that, Trump. Like, your constituents would really appreciate that. They don't care. Why wouldn't you care? Probably because you're guilty. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. But let's see. Which one is this? Sorry, y'all. Hold on. In more Democrat craziness, this happened also. This is, do y'all know we now have a they them in Congress? Did y'all know that? So we have a they them, and let's look at these shenanigans that went down. So this Sarah McBride just got elected, and he's having a hard time being yes, McBride Cap. He's having a hard time adjusting because everybody, as we know, most people ain't with that they them stuff. So let's take a look.
Came to an abrupt end yesterday after a Republican colleague misgendered newly elected Delaware Representative Sarah McBride.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking member.
As you just heard, Texas Republican Keith Self, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, addressed McBride as Mr. McBride hit back by responding, "Thank you, Madam Chair." McBride made history last year by becoming the first openly transgender person elected to Congress. After the exchange, Massachusetts Representative William Keating defended his Democratic colleague.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
Self then immediately adjourned the meeting. McBride says she was disappointed and was prepared to move forward with questions for the subcommittee.
Games. We don't have to play these games. I don't blame the man. I'm not buying in. I don't have to play in your fake reality. I live in the real world, and we do not have to pretend that people are whoever they make up in their minds to be. We don't have to do that. In fact, we're not helping them when we do that. We are not helping anybody who thinks that, you wake up one morning and you think you're George Washington and you demand that people call you George Washington. I don't have to play in your fake reality. I don't have to do that. Why does the rest of society why do you think you need to force the rest of society to play in your world? We don't want to play in your sandbox. Okay? So take your little box and your little sand and go play over there. Like we just want to be regular. We want to keep doing what we've been doing since time immemorial. Okay? That's what we want to do. Jesus Loves You says, decency. You're a dude dressed up like a woman. Thank you. I'm just saying URX because I don't know how to pronounce that. Great times create weak people while hard times create strong people. A cycle our world moves around. Absolutely correct. Cap TBSS says, have you no decency? Since when is perversion decency? Jamie says, bro got his panties in a bunch. Yeah, like, if y'all want to go and play that little game of, I'm gonna call you a girl even though you're really a boy, y'all can do that on your own time, but don't play with our tax dollars doing that foolishness. Like the rest of America, yeah, your constituents may have elected you, which is the bigger problem, which is what Cap says on Instagram. What is worse, our people voted for him. That's true. That is indicative of the government schooling, the indoctrination camps. But I find it funny and disturbing that the man would actually advocate and try to defend this man putting on a wig and a dress and pretending he's a woman. Like, how are you a man supporting that? Like, okay, we know there's something unstable about Sarah, but you supposed to be sane. And you have men who are older men at that, who are supporting this mess. This is like, it makes me weary, like it makes me angry. It makes me it hurts my heart, because I'm like, dang, children now have to be subjected to this foolishness. Another thing for them to be put upon them. Oh, am I really a girl or a boy? Like, what? This is craziness. If you feel my pseudonym is hard to spell, you can spell it Yursa. Oh, okay. Yursa. All right, Yursa. Gotcha. Why is the treatment for their problems injections of male hormones? Very good point. The whole thing is a sham. This whole thing comes out of the Enlightenment, the postmodernism, the universities. That's where it comes out of. It comes out of the universities. They come from the universities, and then they go teach it in the K through 12 public school system. And that's how they keep the cycle going. That's why we have such a hard indoctrination all across America of these ideas. Like, this thing didn't happen overnight. This was a long march through the institutions. That's why you saw the corporations took on to it, the churches took on to it, the academia, the schools took a hold to it. All of the major families have taken a hold to it. All of the major institutions that uphold a society thought it was a good idea to call women men and men women. Like, this is crazy. Paul says, Trump said no more. God created man and women, period. That is true. I am grateful for Trump. And I really want to see legislation. I mean, the executive orders are cool, but we need legislation. Congress needs to get busy. I'm sure, I'm praying that they are, creating these bills and getting this stuff together, because midterms will be here before you know it. And who knows what that election is going to look like. And while we have the majority, we need these things put into signed into law. And it's a shame that we have to do it, but we have to. Colleges and high schools need to teach more about Adam Smith than Karl Marx. Amen to that. I don't mind them teaching about Karl Marx, but I would love if they actually showed what his policies or what his ideas produced. I would love for them to acknowledge that many of the things that are failing in our country are because of ideas from Karl Marx or in his ilk. Why don't we teach the truth? Oh, I forgot. Because they hate America. They hate the West. They hate the Judeo-Christian worldview. Something that I've realized in the last, I think I had this revelation maybe maybe a month ago, that all of these things that we are fighting about when it comes like to the social stuff, like, I mean, technically it can be applied to anything, but the culture stuff, the social culture stuff, whatever you want to call it, these are essentially a battle of whose God you serve. Because if you serve the true and living God, Christ, Yahweh, the Judeo-Christian God, your values are going to be something, they're going to be a particular thing. Notice if you serve anything other than that, is no shade, but Islam, just atheism, agnostic, all of these secular things as a group, as a whole. I'm not saying that, you can't find a decent person that's an atheist. I'm not saying that you can't find a decent person that's, that's a Muslim. I'm not saying that you can't find a decent person that is agnostic or whatever. But the ideology of secularism or any other God outside of the Judeo-Christian God, hey, listen, and you can say what you want about what I'm saying about this, but look throughout history, there has been no other God, no other group, no other religion that has uplifted the world, not only financially, but morally, has civilized the world than the Judeo-Christian beliefs. That's why we love the West. It's the values that it has been built upon. Did human beings exercise or work out those values perfectly? No, they did not. No, they did not. Oh, thank you, Cap. You're very, very nice to say that. He says I'm a smart lady. I try. But this is a battle of gods. It is if you go back to it has always been about who do you serve? What God do you serve? And if truth be told, that's why God told us not to go bothering and fooling with certain people. Them Canaanites, them Philistines, those, people, this group over here, this group, don't go fooling with those people because they don't worship your God, meaning they have different beliefs. Their culture is different. And if you start mixing and mingling with this lightness and dark, you're going to get muddy. They like the mud. Okay. You're going to get muddy though. Jamie says that's why there's a war on us Christians. They want to cancel everything that is true and good. And that is exactly right. Not only in America, Yursa says not only in America, also in the rest of the Americas, like Argentina and Mexico, where those woke ideologies are staining young minds. The battle in the... Ooh, I'm having a hot flash. Ooh, and I don't have my fan. Sorry, y'all. Oh, God. Whew. Excuse me. This 43, y'all, it's coming with some stuff. Excuse me. The battle in this country is simply this: people that want to be free versus people that want to be told what to do. This is true. But ultimately, simulators, it still comes down to a God, because we are built to worship. And if you are, even if you're secular, you're gonna still worship something. And most of the secular people, they end up worshiping the government, because they want to attribute to it powers like a God. They want it to be all powerful. Oh, let's give Medicaid for all. Oh, let's have you're having a hot flash because you're so hot. Well, thank you. My husband thinks so too. Thank you. As we allow more Muslims to America, the more we invite the violence and intolerance of girl, I feel you want that hot flash. Theocracy is inevitable. It's just about which God you serve. That's what I'm saying. Like, we talk about these things like individually. We got the woke stuff, and then we got the economic stuff, and then we got the family stuff. All of these things literally come down to which God you serve. And the reason why America is in such a bad place is because, yes, we started with a strong Judeo-Christian value system, but the more we moved away from that, the more, we invited in these, the European, German, like the Karl Marxes, when they went into the academia, the secular ideology started to proliferate. And then those people came out of the universities and they went into corporate, they went into the medical, they went into all these different industries, and they kept their ideas with them. And so now now our children are repeating the same thing. This was very intentional. Very intentional. The whole John Dewey, the father of the public school system, if he wasn't a communist, he was really close. He was a communist, okay? He went to Soviet Union. He loved the Soviet Union. He loved, how the Prussians did education, the state control. That's what they want. They want to they want the government to be God, an all-powerful, all-knowing. Give us your children. We, just like Randy Weingarten just said, we're gonna teach, we can give them health care, we can give them they can get their teeth clean, they can go to the eye doctor, they can do all the things within the government. They can keep your child healthy. Special education is a scam. True. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to support the channel, please, make sure you share this video out. If you want to give a little tip to your girl or anything like that, a super chat, super sticker, anything like that, please do so. And I think you can do that on Instagram too. And if you're on Twitter, there's a subscribe button there that you can support as well. But these secularists, they worship, their God is material. It's the government. And they want it to be all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent. They don't want, that's why they freak out the way they do. Oh, you're gonna fire one of us? It's like they're like the angels, they're like an Elohim or something, like some kind of divine something. Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy. But speaking of the government, let's see. Which one do I have here? I did not label this one right.
I am Michelle.
Oh, okay. We'll get to this in a minute. Hold on. We're not quite. We'll get back to that in a sec. I had something else for y'all. Let's see. Where's my other? Okay, speaking of God and government and things like that, I wanted to read this with you. This is, have you guys heard about Mahmoud Khaliland, the Muslim who, like the Palestinian guy who was running all up in Columbia University? And now he has been detained by ICE, and Trump is saying he needs to be deported. Let's see. where is my, sorry guys, 1 second. Paul says deport him now. Yeah, so this Khalil guy here, why don't I just do this? Oh gosh, I can't. Mahmoud Khalil. Okay, so I'm just gonna we're gonna go through. We're gonna read some of the things that are being said and watch some of these just pieces of the video. We're not even gonna watch the whole thing. This was inside the schools. All right. So yeah, this guy was terrorizing the students at Columbia University. Now, Columbia University, it's funny because that is where the Frankfurt School, if you guys know the Frankfurt School, that was Karl Marx and Engels, Frederick Engels. The Frankfurt School was in Germany, and then it got moved over here to America, and it went into Columbia University. And I believe it was 1923 when this happened. Now, I've always found it fascinating that communists or Marxists and the left, they always, when it came to like Palestine and Israel, the left always was on the Palestinian side. And I was like, why? Like I don't understand this. But here's why the left and the Palestinian thing, they seem to always be connected. Like there's no breaking that because they see Israel as white. And so it's so stupid because Israel, it's multi-racial. It's like you can have white Jews, white skinned Jews, you can have, Jews blacker than me. Okay. So hey Kelly Matthew. They are aligned because they see, just like how the woke left or the wokesters, they see, white people are the oppressors and people of color are oppressed. That's how they see like Palestinians and Israel. Like they don't care about what they would do with the LGBTQ. They don't care about, any of that because nothing trumps their revolution. And so they have to make it like a class thing. And so that's what they do. And so this is why the left and the Palestinians are so closely aligned. You will see the left aligning, a lot of the left aligning with the Palestinians. You will see a lot of the right, aligning with Israel because of the values that's what it's about. And so let's watch this.
President Trump appealed to a lot of Americans during his campaign on free speech arguments and not suppressing speech, especially from the government. But your revocation of the green card, to many, is seen as one of the most anti-speech actions a secretary could take with his powers. How do you respond?
Yeah, I mean, when you enter this is an important point, and I'm glad you asked this question. When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country on a visitor's visa, okay? You are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out. It's as simple as that. This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way. So when you apply for a student visa or any visa to enter the United States, we have a right to deny you for virtually any reason. But I think being a supporter of Hamas and coming into our universities and turning them upside down and being complicit in what are clearly crimes of vandalization, complicit in shutting down learning institutions. There are kids at these schools that can't go to class. You pay all this money to these high-priced schools that are supposed to be of great esteem, and you can't even go to class. You're afraid to go to class because these lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. If you told us that's what you intended to do when you came to America, we would have never let you in. And if you do it once you get in, we're going to revoke it and kick you out.
Seems pretty simple to me. I mean, I see. I don't understand. I understand why the left stands with this man because of their ideology. I don't understand why I see people on the right supporting this stuff. Have y'all seen that? Have y'all seen the people on the right supporting this? Let's see. Jimmy Twin says, attention all patriots, it's time we stand up for America and demand the deportation of Mahmoud Khaliland. This individual has no place in our great nation under President Trump's leadership. Yes, agreed. We must protect our nation and citizens first. Deport Khaliland. Democrats need victims. Jamie says, what I don't understand to this day is how these left Jewish Congress people and senators don't support Israel. Jamie, because they support, okay, so they're Jews by ethnicity only. They're not Jews by value. They're not Jews by religion. They're Jews by ethnicity. And that's why, again, people like the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons and all of these folks who are on the right, and they can't seem to understand what's going on with Palestine and, Israel, the West in general. I don't understand what is so hard to understand, but these people, they're Jewish not by value, ideology. They're Jewish just by, their mom was a Jew. It doesn't mean anything to them. And that's why we can't just go lumping everybody. Oh, the Jews. We can't do that. Because what does that mean? Because Karl Marx was a Jew. Do you think him and Ben Shapiro have anything in common? Do you? Do you think that Karl Marx and a Dennis Prager have anything in common? Both technically Jews. You can't, that's why you can't just be lumping, especially because the Jews, it's a unique thing. They are both, it's an ethnicity and it's a religion. So there needs to be a distinction. There does need to be a distinction. I don't understand this alliance that some people on the right are forming with those on the left under this Palestine, Israel thing. It's weird. I don't, doesn't make any sense to me. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I see some people in my chat, from times they're like, oh, the Jews this, the Jews that. I am not of that camp. I don't like to, when it comes to race and ethnicities and stuff like that, like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of just lumping people, in groups like that. I don't think that any one group has superiority over another group just by where you're from or whatever. Now you might have better culture, you might have better practices than others. Okay, yeah, but that's something that anybody could adopt. You know what I'm saying? So I don't do that. Stimulated Student says, here's my question to Jews and Christians. What's your goal when living in a country? And what is your heavenly mandate? What is your goal? Well, I can speak for myself. As a Christian, my goal is to do the will of my Father. That's my goal. I mean, I would never have imagined myself, doing politics, but this is where God pushed me. And so I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. Jesus Loves You says, if you're an immigrant looking to come to our country, you must renounce Islam. If you're a Muslim, you cannot have a gun, join the military or police. You cannot vote or hold public office. No protesting. Any violation will result in a permanent trip to the cemetery, in my opinion. Woo! That's something. Iglesia de Yeshua says the battle is between light and light. Thank God we have God and his angels and his precious word to fight on our behalf. Amen. But there is light and darkness, not just light and light. Maybe that's what you meant. But moving on. Okay, so I have two more things I want to talk about, and then I'm going to get out of here. Again, if you would like to support the channel, if you want to Cash App or support in any way, feel free. Feel free. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here's the thing. I got the Michelle Obama story. Michelle and Barack, it's rumored that they're getting a divorce, and I have some strong opinions about this. My husband and I were talking about this, and he feels a little bit differently, and I would like to know what you guys think. And just to talk about this story. So let's see. And then I need to address a comment that was made to me. I'm going to do the comment last. Let's talk about Michelle and Barack. Okay. So.
And I am Craig.
And
oops.
I am Michelle.
And I am Craig.
And Craig here is my big brother. He's done a lot of everything in life: business, coaching, basketball, television. He's always been one of the very few people I can turn to whenever I need just about anything.
And you all know my sister Michelle, or Mish as our family has always called her.
We are so excited for you to listen to our brand new podcast.
Big Mish. I'm just playing. That was funny. Big Mish.
Cast. It's called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson. Together, Craig and I are going to take your questions about the challenges you're grappling with in life. Because let's be real, we are living through some really complicated and confusing times, and people are feeling more alone than ever. But what I've learned is that if you're feeling a certain kind of way, the reality is that others are probably feeling that way too. And when you take the time to be just a little vulnerable and open up about it, it's a whole lot easier to find the answers you're looking for.
Every week, we'll be joined by some of our friends, special guests, and experts who will keep us honest while also adding their own opinions to the mix.
Whether you're navigating the gray areas of marriage and raising kids, or dealing with a little friend drama, or even figuring out how to put yourself out there in the dating world. And I want young women to just practice asking.
Okay, put yourself out there in the dating world. Okay, girl. Okay. Well, so it's being rumored that Michelle and Barack are getting a divorce. And I'm like, okay, great. Of course, the one Black couple that has been in the White House would be getting divorced. I mean, that would be right statistically in line. Let's just keep it real. Okay. It's very sad if it is true, but that would be right in line. And here's my thing. I don't think Michelle should get a divorce. Sorry, Michelle, listen, girl, I know that they telling you, oh, you got Black girl magic, you know, Black excellence, Black bliggity, whatever. Listen, let me tell you something. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, you're older now, and you're not going to want to live the rest of your life without a companion, okay? And it's going to be very hard for any man to come after a president, okay? So that's number one. Number two, I don't mean to be harsh, but you really don't have too much going for yourself outside of Barack. Like, nobody's really checking for you outside of Barack. I mean, like, nobody would know who you are if you would not have been married to Barack Obama. Like, nobody's going to. I just don't think you're gonna want to spend the rest of your life single, Michelle. Barack, on the other hand, he'll go on. He could get married again and have, you know, be totally and completely happy, because men function different. Their lives are different. Okay. You're older, Michelle. You are, you know, you're not, I mean, men, I'm trying to be nice. I'm just saying, you know, attractiveness matters, and you just haven't been, you know, it just, you know, as you get, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to leave that alone. But when women get older, it is not so easy for women to just get married again. It is not so easy for women to, you can't move like a man, okay? You cannot move like a man. If I were you, Michelle, I would be trying to stay with my husband. And so this is where me and my husband were. He was like, nah, because many people know that Barack is either, how you doing, or has certainly, let's just keep it real. Everybody pretty much knows that Barack likes twigs and berries, okay? And at this point, why leave? My husband's like, no, if I were her, I would leave. And I'm like, yeah, she's never going to, she won't recover. She won't. And there are so many older women, particularly older Black women, who have bought that same line. I can do bad all by myself. Oh, you know, I don't need a man, and all this foolishness. while you're getting older. Now she doesn't have to worry financially. She's not going to have to worry financially, which is what a lot of people, a lot of women who aren't married, they do struggle financially as they get older. You won't struggle financially, Michelle, but we are made to be with someone, and you are accustomed to being with someone because you've been with this man for, I don't know, 25, however long y'all been married. So you're going to want somebody, but it ain't going to be as easy for you as it is for Barack, and you're going to be looking stupid. You're going to look like a fool because Barack is going to go, he's going to be able to move on and probably have a beautiful wife or a beautiful somebody. And you're going to be sitting up here looking like boo-boo the fool. Guaranteed you will be. It's just not a good look. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that she should get a divorce? If this is true, do you think that she should move forward with that? Or do you think she should just stick it out with your husband? Like, we're going to put the politics aside. Do you think she should stick it out with her husband? Or do you think, they should get a divorce? What do y'all think? We can no longer. Can we talk? Wait, what is that? I don't know, Kelly Matthew. I don't know. Big Bad Mike costed Joan Rivers. Oh, she can get a show with Tia Mowry. Stimulated students. Tia Mowry is deciding to. She's trying to get back with her husband. That's my point. Paul says he doesn't care. I know this isn't something that we normally talk about, but this has to do. This is family. This is culture. Like, this is a big family. This would actually be historical, because I don't think that there has ever been a former president that got divorced after, they were president. And so I think it would further it would kind of make divorce okay. You know what I mean? And that's not something that we need. We don't need divorce. We don't need more divorce. Sodomite unions were not recognized back in the day. Okay, y'all. All right, stop. Duke Meisinger, she's going to become a lonely cat. Like, that's what I think. That is what I think. I think she will definitely. Oh my gosh, I'm missing all these comments on Instagram. Unless it's Brittany Griner. Franks and beans. Oh gosh, Mrs. Goldie, he's definitely gay. Do you think the gay rumors about Barack are true? Yes, I do. Absolutely true. That's why he rode for gay rights the most during his presidency. Yes, Obama coming out of the closet would be history. That would be crazy too. Ooh, what if he married? Because I don't think 2 men or 2 women can get married. But what if he married a man? That would be crazy. I don't think he would do that, but that would be crazy. The Obamas are not real people. They are characters. They're real. They're real people. That's kind of like how my husband feels. He's like, these are celebrities. Like, their lives aren't real. Like, in the sense of, like, he thinks that pretty much all this stuff is staged, which I get that. I get that. I understand that. Paul says he doesn't care. And I just wanted to know what y'all thought. But I just think that Michelle needs to stick it out, okay? Because, baby girl or boy, you don't want to be. You want to be out by yourself. Does she think these YouTube streets are going to save her? Probably. Here's God stated that marriage is indissoluble until the husband or the wife die, and divorce is a justification for the sin of adultery. Yes. Maybe that's why Mike wants a divorce, allegedly. Yes. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Okay. Okay, you're gonna ditch me for Gutfeld? You can go watch that later, Cap. All right. Here's my last story. I have to somebody tried to come for me. And so now I have to set them straight. Okay. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you saw my video where I was talking to Jamal Bryant. I was reacting to Jamal Bryant's one of his sermons where he's talking about, Black people with the target and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, Jamal, you can't be oppressed or you can't be a conqueror, because God calls us conquerors. You can't be a conqueror and conquered. You can't be a victim and a victor. You can't have these two mindsets running in your mind simultaneously. It is double-mindedness, and it is unstable in all our ways, right? If we are thinking like that. So this man says, to answer your question, yes, let's see. David was a king and conqueror, and yet being pursued and persecuted. Joseph was a prince, but yet falsely imprisoned. Jesus had overcome the world and yet crucified. Claiming victory as the ultimate goal does not negate the everyday battles that must still be fought. You can be healed and still take medicine. Yes, Miss Goldie. I know about Larry Sinclair. I've known about him for years, and I know about the other 3 men that are no longer here. If you know what I mean, definitely know about that. But lastly, as I'm wrapping up with this, the point of what I was saying and what the Bible says is that you can't have these thoughts. They can't be running in your mind simultaneously. You can't on one, if you're telling yourself, I'm more than a conqueror, you're like quoting the scripture, you're speaking blessings over yourself. You're trying to encourage yourself. So you're reading the word. And then you also have, the voice of the enemy in your mind. Oh no, you can't ever be anything. You're not more than a conqueror. Don't believe what the Bible says about you. Believe what the world says about. If you keep these ideas, if they keep, coming in and out of your mind, like one day you believe this, the next day you believe that, one second you believe this, the next second you believe that, you are going to be unstable. That's what the Bible says. And we see that because if you watch people who are constantly, who can't set their mind on something and say, this is what God says about me, and I'm going to believe this thing. For instance, like these Christians who try to say that, oh, I'm Black, so therefore I am just perpetually oppressed. And then you want to also say that you're more than a conqueror. I truly believe that that is one of the major reasons why Black people in America cannot see the success that they want, because they are running around with these double-minded thoughts. This man is talking about David was a king and conqueror and yet being pursued and persecuted. Help me remember, but I don't remember David being king while he was persecuted. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember him actually being king over Israel while he was persecuted. Joseph wasn't in prison while he was the prince. That's not what happened. Joseph was imprisoned and then he became prince. But Joseph knew who he was from a little boy. That's what got him into the prison in the first place. Because he knew who he was, because he knew that he was what God had showed him. That's why he was in prison. His mindset didn't change though, because if his mindset had changed while he was in prison in the pit, he would have never made it to be prince. And finally, If you are healed, why would you still take medication for something that you've been healed from? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is double-mindedness. This don't even make no sense. Keisha, they made trans. Okay, that's why the Obamas did. So divorce is nothing. Oh, you're fine. Does anyone think that a podcast is beneath a former first lady, or am I just a hater? Christians ended the practice of sitting. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. This is a very important thing that we must understand as those of us that are believers. What we believe in our minds is very important. The Bible tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So apparently, there's a transformation that can happen when you renew your mind in Christ. If you try to keep one foot in the world, believing what the world tells you, you're not more than a conqueror. You can't do anything through Christ. You cannot, you'll always be beneath. You'll never be ahead. If you just believe what the world tells you instead of believing what God tells you, you will walk out what the enemy wants for you. This faith thing, you have to be flat-footed, unmovable, unshakable, believing in what God tells you. If you try to be a victim, if you try to take on what the world has told you, you will fail. You will be double-minded. You will never achieve what God has put you here to achieve. I'll put money on that. Okay? It is not something that you can just play around with. And so, unfortunately, this guy, he thinks he owned me, but you owning yourself, and ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing worse than playing yourself. I will leave it right there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you want to support the channel, you can support it with a super chat, super sticker. There's ways to support on IG, and there's ways to support on Twitter. Let's see. Let me answer this question. Do I think that a podcast is beneath a former first lady? In this day and time, everybody has a podcast. And I mean, you could do what I think she might be trying to prepare for the future of thugging it out by herself. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys for watching. It is good to see you all. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.